Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we have another Magic the Gathering video, and as we already know, the Murders at Karlov Manor expansion is almost upon us. So today I'll be sharing with you my top 20 most anticipated cards. Now these are cards which, aren't ranked based on power. That being said, I do really love powerful cards, so they are kind of ranked based on power. But yeah, I have some really fun cards in here as well. Now, if you can't really hear that, I have a bit of a sore throat, so if I'm going to voice crack, and I will voice crack, don't give me too much of a hard time, please. So yeah, let's not make this video too long because we have a lot of cards to go through. This video was supposed to be initially top 10 cards, but there are so many good cards in this expansion that honestly, I'm just gonna, show 20. This is pretty much it. And I even had to narrow it down. Whenever I finished my list, I had like 27 cards. So I had to, really take my time and cutting 7 more cards just to narrow it down to 20. Because I'm not gonna go through, through the entire expansion, basically. Because this expansion does look pretty sick. So yeah, let's, without further ado, let's just go into the first card. So, number 20. The Case of the Shattered Pact. Now, this is a case. If you don't know what a case is, it's basically a new type of enchantment. Just like Sagas is a type of enchantment, this is a case. This is a 2-mana case, and whenever you play a case, you get an initial effect. Then you have to solve it, and after you solve it at the end step, yeah, I think it is at the end step. If you met the requirements, you're solving the case. And you get the solved effect. So we're gonna feature one right now, really good to start with. Also, the only colorless card I have, because I don't think there are many great colorless cards I'm excited about in this expansion, but this is one, is a card that does quite excite me. So, 2 colorless mana, a case. When this case enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Really nice effect, really relevant right now. You do this in Atraxa decks all the time. And to solve it, there are 5 colors among permanents you control. If unsolved, solve at the beginning of your end step. So basically, at your end step, you need to have 5 colors among permanents you control, which again, Atraxa already pretty much does this on her own. You just need another color. And pretty sick. That is pretty sick. Easy, pretty easy to solve. I don't think it's that easy, but I think it's one of the, easier ones to solve. Because there are definitely hard cases to solve. This is one of the easier one, I believe. So, the solved effect. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains flying, double strike, and vigilance until the end of turn. Really, really sick effect to have on an enchantment, isn't it? Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. The only question is which deck you're gonna put this into, because I don't know if it fits directly into Atraxa decks, because they don't really play creatures, you kinda just play Atraxa. But honestly, I think you can build a 5-color deck that utilizes this card, which isn't Atraxa necessarily. It might contain Atraxa, I mean, sure, why not? If you're running all those colors, you can run Atraxa. But this is really good. I mean, 2 mana, fetch a land, sure. And then you have to solve it with 5 permanents. I think there are permanents. You can play even Joda or just permanents that contains 5 colors, which we got a lot of those in this expansion. You're gonna see it when the expansion comes out. Not in this video, obviously, but oh my god, I voice cracked it. I knew this. I knew it. But yeah, I got excited and I slipped. Forgive me. And basically, whenever you just crack the case, you only need to do this once, obviously. You get this really sick effect, just making every creature 10 times stronger with flying, double strike, and vigilance. That's basically uninterruptible. You can't Wandering Emperor it because it has vigilance. You basically can block it because it has flying. And it gets double strike. Like, what else can you ask for, honestly? That's insane. That's insanely good. So, yeah, I think this card can potentially see play. It will take some time to, find a really nice deck for it. To find it a home. But that's a really nice card. That's a really nice card, and a card I'm excited for nonetheless. The only colorless card on this list. So, let's actually go to number 19. Which is Delney, I don't know how to pronounce it. The Streetwise Lookout. 3 mana, 2/2, legendary creature, human scout. So really relevant right now. Creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. Really nice effect. But wait, there's more. If an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Yeah. This card is gonna see play in every single mono white and Boros deck in the next 4 years, so get ready for it, to get used to seeing him. Card's insane, card's crazy powerful. Boros and mono white decks are constantly triggering effects, and they have usually they have 2 or less power. I'm talking about Adeline, I'm talking about the Boros card, which is basically the same version of Adeline. Card's crazy. Even if you get 1 more trigger out of it, that's insane. If you get 1 more soldier out of Adeline, that's insane. I mean, yeah. And, yeah, this card's just insane. I have nothing else to say. Card's just crazy powerful. I think it will see play. The only reason it's so low on the list is because I don't really play aggro that much, but still, I think that's a really cool card. It's gonna terrorize me, I already know, but yeah. A really cool card nonetheless, and really, I really wanted to feature it because I think it's pretty sick. Next card, the Case of the Stash Skeleton. Again, another case. You're gonna see some more cases here because there are a lot of, really cool cases that I'm excited for. So, Case of the Stash Skeleton. When this case enters the battlefield, create a 2/1 Black Skeleton creature token and suspect it. Suspects has menace and can't block. And it costs 2 mana, if I haven't mentioned this. So basically just 2 mana, summon a 2/1 creature with menace that can't block. Pretty okay, not the worst, but definitely not the best. And to solve, you control no suspected skeleton. It's a relatively easy thing to do. You just create a token, you sacrifice it. There are so many sacrifice outlets right now. I mean, you can sacrifice it to like, whatever you want. You can sacrifice it to eat, to how do you call it? Eaten Alive, you can sacrifice it to Fanatical Offering, I believe it's called, the new card. I'm not sure if that's exactly the name. There's so much. You can sacrifice it to Braids, you can sacrifice it to so many. We don't need to go through every single card. But basically, after you sacrifice it, you solve the case, and once you solve the case, you can pay 2 mana to sacrifice this case, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle, activate only as a sorcery. Yes, this is Demonic Tutor, straight up. Straight up Demonic Tutor, and the only thing you need to do is find a way to get rid of your token you just summoned. I mean, that's gotta be crazy, right? I mean, Demonic Tutor is a card that sees play in literally Vintage, bro. It's insane. It sees play everywhere it possibly can. And getting Demonic Tutor while getting a token out of it, and maybe you can sacrifice it to get value, I think this card is potentially crazy. I might be overhyping this card. But guys, I mean, that's a Demonic Tutor. You cannot underestimate this card. This is crazy. The only thing you need to do is find a way to get rid of your skeleton, which you can do so many ways. I mean, you can Obnixilis it. You can do so much. I don't know, man. That's crazy. You can play this on 2. You can Ob on 3. That's gotta be powerful. But yeah, we're not rating power level. We're just rating cards I'm excited about. I'm getting a bit too carried away. Yeah, this card is super sick. I'm gonna play this in Rakdos Sacrifice deck, which I kinda tried to build, but I'm kinda new, so I didn't know what I was doing, and I failed horribly. And I dropped quite a few ranks. But yeah, this card's definitely going to my Rakdos Sacrifice deck. Really sick card. I really love this card. Big W for cases. Now, the next card is Anzrag, the Quake-Mole. A Gruul unit, creature, legendary creature, Mole God, Pog. Whenever Anzrag the Quake-Mole becomes blocked, untap each creature you control. After this combat phase, there is an additional combat phase. So, and he's an 8 attack and 4 health, if I forgot to mention that. Yeah, already we haven't seen this effect, this additional combat effect, in a long while. I mean, at least it feels for me that I haven't seen this in so much, you know, so much time has passed since I've seen an effect like this. And yeah, 4 mana 8/4 is really nice stat line. I mean, obviously not the best because it doesn't have any trample. You can give a trample. I don't think it's that hard. You can play Helena and Elena, and then you can play the Anzrag, the Quake-Mole. I don't think it's that difficult. I don't think it's that difficult to achieve at all. And once you play him, I mean, your opponent is pretty much forced to block him unless they want to literally die. And once they block him, you get an additional combat phase. I think this card's sick. I think this card's sick. This card might be what takes Gruul to the next level. Gruul is pretty nice right now. It's not obviously good. It doesn't see much play. But it is okay, but it is good. It's solid. It's like a solid deck. I think this card might just be the next stepping stone in Gruul's decks. This card is really sick. Also, it has an additional effect, which is pretty irrelevant. It's basically just pay 7 mana that he must be blocked, if able. But that's pretty much inherently what he has. I mean, he has to be blocked. If you don't block him, you just die. So, I mean, it's cool, sure. Like, why not? But I don't think that's the important part. This card just might be what takes Gruul into the next step, into a higher level. Really exciting. You know, I'm really excited to try this card. Might possibly even see play Naya, but I'm pretty sure it will see play Gruul, because you do need to play a lot of Gruul synergy card. But yeah, pretty sick card, and I'm super excited to try it out. Next card is Case of the Burning Masks. Pretty cool card, a pretty powerful card, honestly. Let's go over it real quick. It's more of a mono red card, but I can appreciate the design. I'm not gonna play this, straight up, I'm telling you this right now. I'm never gonna play mono red. I hate mono red, and I hate mono red enjoyer. Apologies if I offended you, mono red player, but I don't like you. So, Case of the Burning Mask is 1 colorless, 2 red. By the way, I'm just joking. You know, don't be a crybaby. Kek G. When this case enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to target creature and opponent controls. So already a pretty okay effect. I mean, dealing 3 to creature for 3 mana is absolute, you know, garbage. It's not good, but still, it's not the worst. It's not the worst. But the next effect is what comes into mind. You know, when evaluating this power level of this card. To solve, 3 or more sources you controlled dealt damage this turn. Basically a joke, possibly one of the easiest, if not the easiest cases to solve, honestly. A joke. It deals 3 damage, that mono red does this on a daily basis. Extremely easy, let alone the fact that when you play this, it already deals damage to a creature. So basically you play this on 3, it enters the battlefield, you deal 3 damage to whatever, to any creature your opponent controls, and then you attack with 2 other creatures you might have on board already, or you play a cheap haste unit for 1 mana, you sneak in 3 damage, you solve the case, and once it's solved, you sacrifice this case. You exile the top 3 cards of your library, you choose one of them, you may play that card this turn. So you can choose whenever to sacrifice this case, which is the important part. And pretty sick. I mean, yeah, that's pretty sick. I believe it will have to happen the next turn, though. It can happen on the same turn, right? Because if unsolved, solve at the beginning of your end step. So yeah, you will have to sit on this card for a turn before solving it. But that's pretty sick. That is pretty sick. I mean, yeah, really good card. Just really good card. You're gonna activate it every single time. I'm not sure if it will see play right now. I think it will see play after rotation, because there are a lot of good cards mono red are using, and I don't think they need this one particularly. But yeah, it might just be. I mean, it might just be. Sometimes mono red do use Lightning Strike to remove units from the board. This can be a really nice alternative, not to Lightning Strike, but, you know, kind of worked with Lightning Strike alongside it, so you can save the Lightning Strike for the face. Really nice card. Might just see play. Not really sure, but really sick card. And if you're if you're a mono red enjoyer, I believe you're gonna enjoy this card a lot. I'm probably not gonna try it, but I can appreciate a really nice design, and this is a really nice design card, and really nice design case. So, next card, Leyline of the Guildpact. So, hybrid mana, as you can see. You can pay for everything with the green, which is really sick. But Leyline, yeah, we haven't gotten Leyline in a while. So basically an enchantment, and if Leyline of the Guildpact is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. Really sick. Each non-land permanent you control is all colors. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other type. So basically the premium mana fixing you can ever imagine. That is pretty sick. This card is really sick, and I think the fact that you just play it for free if you have it in your opening hand can be potentially really busted because you can sacrifice enchantments to gain benefits. But yeah, really sick cards. It solves every single problem you have with mana fixing. And that's super relevant, especially if you want to play 5 colors decks. I don't know if this card will see play right now. Again, maybe after rotation, because there are so many, the mana fixing in the game right now is crazy good. But yeah, this card is really potentially really not powerful. I mean, it's so nice. It's so nice. There's so many 5-color synergies. I don't think this card will see play right now. I think it will be more relevant after rotation hits. But that's a really sick card. I'm anticipating this card. This card is really cool, and I absolutely love it. That's pretty much it. Next card is another case. Yeah, I know. Wow, it features so many cases. It just goes to show how good the cases are going to be. I mean, at least in terms of design, I just adore them. That's such a good design. Case of the Ransacked Lab. 3 mana, 2 colorless, 1 blue. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Holy, guys. Hold me. Oh my god, I can't contain my excitement. This card is crazy. I really love the, how do you call it? The mindless apparatus, something like that. The 4 mana cards on blue, that's Flesh Speed artifact that makes everything cost 1 less mana. Instant and sorcery makes it cost 1 less for each oil counter on it. If you know what I'm talking about, it's a really nice card. Unfortunately, it didn't see any play because it's a bit too slow. But this card costs 1 less mana. It costs 3 mana, and it's on an enchantment. It's a consistent effect. So that's really good. That's really great. And already, really powerful effect. I mean, instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Honestly, that alone is pretty much okay. That's not the end of the world. That's really nice. That is really nice. And to solve, you've cast 4 or more instant or sorcery spells this turn. So, not the easiest, definitely not the easiest, but I don't think it's difficult either. I mean, there are so many good cards. Whenever you think about this card, you think about spell slinging decks, which are my favorite. I'm saying this every single time. They are my favorite. I just love spell slinging decks so much, and this card fits so well into them. That's why I'm excited for this card so much. But yeah, basically to solve, you cast 4 more cards, which I assume gonna be between 1 or 2 mana, and this card is gonna take 2 mana cards and make them 1 mana cards, so that's really awesome. And you cast 4 more instant or sorcery spells this turn. Again, not difficult thing to do. I mean, not that difficult. And when you solve it, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card. Holy, dude. Holy, that's crazy. That's game-winning effect on a 3 mana card. And the only thing you need to do is to solve it. Once you solve it, you get the sick effect of, you still get the first part because it's not like the enchantment is going away. And you get to draw a card whenever you play. That's insane. That's insane. That's insane. Obviously, it goes into every spell slinging deck. The only question is if spell slinging decks are going to be viable. That's what I'm, still contemplating, but I'm definitely 100% going to try this deck. 100% going to build this deck. Insane. Insanely powerful card. I mean, in the right deck. And yeah, I'm super excited for this card, guys. Super excited for this card. Obviously, gonna be quite difficult to find the right, the right cards to put in the deck and to assemble a deck for it. But that's a challenge I'm willing to take. That's a really sick card. So, next card. Pretty simple. So let's keep it simple. Shock. We're gonna speak about spell slinging a lot. You're gonna see a lot of cards that, are related to spell slinging. I'm already warning you. That is my thing, guys. Shock, pretty simple, you already know, don't really need to dwell this much about this card. Gonna see play in every single deck from now until the end of the universe, basically until the next rotation hits, which is 4 years from now. So get ready to see this card in every single spell slinging deck and in every single aggro deck. 1 mana, instant speed, deals 2 damage to any target. Simple. but effective. Crazy powerful card. Insanely good, insanely busted. Goes straight up into my spell slinging deck. For sure. Next card, Axebane Ferox. 4 mana, 2 colorless, 2 green, 4 mana, 4/4. Already, really nice stat line. Death Touch, Haste. Oh god. And it has a ward. If the Death Touch and Haste on a 4 mana 4/4 unit wasn't enough, it has a ward. Collect Evidence. Now this is a good opportunity to, you know, show you what Collect Evidence is, in case you don't know. Collect Evidence is whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, counter it, unless the player exile cards with total mana value of 4 or greater from the graveyard. So collecting evidence is basically forcing you to just remove exile cards from a graveyard equal to the cost mentioned. In this case, it's 4. And for your opponent to kill this, he literally needs to, you know, move 4 mana, exile 4 mana from his graveyard, which is, I think, impossible to do. It's basically so difficult to do in the early stages, not late game. Late game, of course, it's easy, but early stage, especially if you're going first, you have 4 mana while your opponent have 3. No way your opponent has 4 mana in his graveyard to pay the word cost. No way. No way. Under no circumstances he have this, unless he specifically discarded something, which again, he needs to jump through so many hoops to do that. No way he can pay the word cost. This is basically a 4 mana 4/4 untouchable unit. You don't want to block this. It has Death Touch, it has Haste. It's insane. The only problem with this card is the mana cost. It's the 4 mana. It's such a competitive slot right now in Golgari. And this card is 100% going into Golgari and every single mid-range that contains green. But yeah, I mean, obviously you keep running Shelly. You won't cut Shelly for this card. The only problem is the turtle, the 4 mana turtle. That's the only problem I have with this card. It clashes with so many important cards, with Shelly and the tortoise. Yeah, that will be a difficult challenge to kind of find a room for this card. But if someone will figure this out, this card is great. This card is great. This card is amazing. Premium stat line, insane keywords, Death Touch and Haste. Crazy. And a ward. I mean, and a really nice ward. Yeah, insanely good. Insanely good. Now, next card. Again, if you don't know, I'm a Celestia enjoyer, and this card is really, really sick. It's the Trostani 3 Whispers. It's a legendary creature, Dryad, Kikuji. It's a 4 mana, it's a 3 mana, 4/4. Premium stat line, already. Premium stat line. And it has some really neat effect. You can pay 2 to give some creature Death Touch until the end of turn. You can pay one hybrid to give Vigilance, which quite irrelevant. But the most relevant part is you can pay 3 to give it Double Strike. So really sick. If you have a target creatures that's being blocked, you can give it Death Touch. If you have a target creature that not being blocked, you can give it Double Strike. That's really that simple. And it's a 3 mana 4/4. Card's quite simple, and I think it's really good. And I'm super excited to try it in Naya, actually, not in Celestia. I think Celestia is kind of fallen off favor. There hasn't been a really good Celestia dex. But I think in Naya, when you add that red color and you get those big units, the big juicy units, this card is insane. You can put Double Strike on like a really big dino, or, you know, just a really nice unit with solid stat line, and this card will do just fine. Maybe just put it on a unit with Trample. There's so many possibilities, so many possibilities. It's such a good mana sink. Honestly, a phenomenal card. And a premium stat line, I mean, 3 mana 4/4 already. What can your opponent do? The only thing he can do is remove it. Is cast hard removal. But in terms of blocking, like, yeah, he's not gonna block that. That's for sure. Card's insanely good. Insanely good. So, next card, another Celestia card, which is Buried in the Gardens. Buried in the Garden. Guys, the art is incredible. Look at that, look at that. And the theme is crazy, because the flavor is spot on. So, 4 mana, enchantment, aura, enchant land. When Buried in the Garden enter the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent you don't control until Buried in the Garden leave the battlefield. So, the usual jail effect you already know and love, which is known to be really good. And whenever Enchanted Land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of any color. So basically, a jail effect and ramp. This is crazy. I mean, most of the time, you're gonna use this card on a token. On a token or an enchantment you wanna use. You rarely use it on creatures unless you're playing aggro. I don't think this card fits in aggro. This card is obviously, you know, meant for higher mana cost decks. But yeah, crazy good, crazy good. You use it to remove a token, and after you done this, you get ramp for the rest of the game, pretty much. That's insane. That's crazy good. That is crazy good. Crazy good. Honestly, in love with this card. Can't wait to play it. I think this card will see play. I don't think this card will be that good in the meta, because the meta is, you know, pretty strong right now. I mean, Esper is kind of cringe. But this card is so good. It's so good. It's so good. I really hope it will see play. I don't know if it will see play, but I really hope so. Cards, again, cards that I'm super excited about. Really great card. Really awesome flavor, and love everything that it does. Sick. Just a really sick card. So, how many cards we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so this was card number 10. So card number 9 on the spot, Intrude the Mind. Oh man, this card is a juicy one. Get ready for this. 5 mana, blue card, instant speed. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent choose one of these piles, put that pile into your hand, and the other into your graveyard. Create a 0/0 colorless Stopter artifact creature token with flying, then put +1/+1 counter on it for each card put into your graveyard this way. So basically, you reveal top 5, you separate them into 2 piles, piles of 3 and pile of 2 cards, and your opponent basically just have to decide which card you get into your hand and which to your graveyard, and whatever went to the graveyard, you just get +1/+1 on the Earth Topter you create. Basically just a unit for each card with power and toughness equal to each card you threw away. So if you put like the 3 cards, you usually put the 2 best cards in one pile. Well, not really, but like the 2 of your better cards in one pile and 3 in the other. So basically this card is 5 mana, create a 2/2 unit, and draw 3 on instant speed. That's crazy. Or quite possibly we can turn this around and said this card is 5 mana instant speed, make a 3/3 unit, and draw 2. Yeah. Would you play draw 2 and make a 3/3 unit? Yeah. On 100%. On instant speed. 5 mana, you would play this card. This card is worthy of the mythic title. I think this card is gonna see play in every single blue deck that, you know, wanna draw cards and make cheap blockers. The fact that it has flying is so relevant in the current meta is actually crazy, especially when everything feels like it has flying right now. Honestly, like Raffine, the bats, all of this cringe, like, yeah, super relevant in the current meta. And the fact that you actually separate them, the piles, and make your opponent basically make, you know, the worst choice for them. Cards are good. Cards is bonkers, guys. Cards is insanely good. It's insanely good. I think it's gonna see play in every single blue deck. Every single blue deck is gonna see play. Really powerful card. And one that I'm really excited for. Now, next card, number 8. Worldsoul Rage. Oh man, this card is... I'm dying to play this card. Okay, it's an X value with Gruul mana. Sorcery feed. Worldsoul Rage, deal X damage to any target. Put up to X land cards from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. Guys, this card's crazy. I don't think it will see play in Gruul. I think this... Whenever I see this card, I think Jund. But honestly, card's insane. Card insanely powerful. Okay, let's take the average. On average, you're gonna pay 2 for this card. So that means this card will cost 4 mana and X equal 2. So deal 2 damage to any target and put up to X land cards, to put 2 land cards from your hand or your graveyard. Most of the time you want to utilize this from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's insane. That's insane. That's literally ramp and deal 2 damage. That's basically on average ramp 2, and deal 2 damage for 4 mana. That is powerful. That is crazy. And if you draw it late game, it's still good. It's so versatile. It's so versatile. I'm just super excited for this card. Honestly, you can utilize this card with red color so, oh my god, like honestly, you can use red effects to discard and draw, to discard a land and draw, you know, whatever. And basically, once you have so many lands in your graveyard, you can cast this for like 3 or more even, and you just get them back from your graveyard. That can easily win you the game on the spot. And I don't know if this card will see play right now. It might just see play after rotation. But that's a card I'm dying to try out, dude. That card seems crazy, especially with all the cycle lands we have right now, which it's a really nice energy just to get more of them value. Maybe play it with Soul of Windgrace and stuff like that. Really nice card. Really nice card. Absolutely love this card. Next card, Warleader Call. Yep, Boros Enchantment. Creature you control get +1/+1, 3 mana. Really good effect. But the other effect is gonna break the game. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, Warleader Call deal 1 damage to each opponent. Yeah, you're gonna see this card in every single Boros deck from now until the end of times. Card is crazy, insane. I mean, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, that's, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but that means tokens, right? So whenever you generate a token and Boros generate tokens in like that, it's so easy. You deal 1 damage to each opponent. That's insane. That's insane. Let alone the fact that you actually get +1/+1 to every to every creature on board. Card's crazy. Gonna see play in every single Boros deck. On average, I believe you can easily get 5 damage out of it. Easily. Just from the tokens you're summoning. Boros aggro is, you know, yeah, it's crazy. It's gonna be top tier. It's gonna be top tier. I have no doubt about it. Boros is gonna be top tier. But the good thing about this card and why I'm excited for it is because I'm gonna put it into my Boros midrange deck, which I'm super excited to build because there are some really juicy cards coming in later. Get ready for it. I really love Boros. I just hate aggro. I adore Boros midrange. I think Boros midrange is one of the most fun decks to play. I really love board-based decks, and Boros is, you know, is my favorite midrange. And yeah, super excited to feature this card in my Boros midrange deck. Other cards. Rakdos, Patron of Chaos. 6 mana. Rakdos mana, if that surprises anyone. 6 mana, 6/6. Nice stat line. Flying Trample. Good keywords. At the beginning of your end step, target opponent may sacrifice 2 non-land token, non-token permanents. If they don't, you draw 2 cards. That's really sick. That's really sick. That's basically a 6 mana draw 2, because your opponent isn't likely to sacrifice a non-token units, 2 of them. That's very unlikely. I think this card is basically a 6 mana, 6/6, draw 2 at the end of your turn. That's really good. He has to be dealt with. You know, you draw 2, you get some value out of him. If it will see play, there's so much removal right now, and he does not have an ETB effect, which is quite suck. But, you know, it's a pretty good end of turn effect. So if you can get it on board, you play this on Rakdos mid-range, I think this card is good. I think this card is nice. It hit the right spot. Maybe just a bit too expensive, so not really sure if it will see play, but that's a card I'm super excited to try out in my Rakdos mid-range nonetheless. And another card, oof, guys, this is a juicy one. Stay with me. You know I love ramp, right? Check this out. 4 mana, another case, by the way, which just goes to show how good cases are. 4 mana, you may play an additional land on each of your turns. Yes, please. Yeah, I adore this effect. I thrive, I live for this effect. To solve, you need to control 7 or more lands. Easy. Literally, the easiest thing you can possibly do. Easiest case to solve. And when you solve it, you may look at the top, after you solve it, you may look at the top card of your library anytime. And you may play lands and cast creatures and enchantment from the top of your library. God bless. This card is so good. This card is so good. Infinite Gas, sign me up, dude. Sign me up. Infinite, playing lands from the top of your deck and creatures and enchant. Dude, sign me up. Like, I'm in. I'm in. This card is crazy. If your opponent doesn't deal with it, yeah, you just win on the spot. This card is crazy good. Crazy good. It might just even go into a Traxadex. Might just go into a Traxadex, dude. I'm not even joking. This card is crazy. Crazy good. And I'm just dying to play it. I'm dying to play it. I cannot wait. It's such a good card. It's such a phenomenal design. And I believe that it's really, really fair as well. And yeah, super excited to build a deck for it. Card's crazy. I just love Ramp so much. Card's crazy good. Big creatures, big happy. Oh, now this card is a juicy one as well. So, Izzet, 1 mana, Izzet colored, 3 mana, 4/4. It's a vehicle. Collect evidence 6. So again, exile cards with mana value of 6 or more from your graveyard. Carlos become an artifact creature until the end of turn. So that's an alternative to the crew. The crew cost is 2, as you can see here. Pretty sick, pretty sick. Whenever Voltstrider attacks, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from among cards exiled with it. If that spell would be put into a graveyard, put it on the bottom of its owner library instead. So, you have Collect Evidence 6. You exile spells. And then you, this card comes to life, and you can cast whatever you just exiled. That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. And it's not even for the same turn, so you can use the Collect Evidence 1 time. You can exile, let's say, 6, spells. You can attack with this 1 time, cast 1 spell. You can, next turn, you can attack with this again using the crew effect. And you can cast whatever you just exile. This card is really sick. It really reminds me of Adversary, of Bloodthirsty Adversary, which is a phenomenal card, and you see it literally in every single mono red deck, or just aggro that contains red. Yeah, this card is sick. I think this card will definitely see play. It's really giga powerful, and I cannot wait to feature it in my Jeskai deck. But yeah, this card is crazy good. Card is crazy good. Really, really cool and powerful card, and I'm absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. Sick card. Okay, last top 3. Aurelia, the Law Above. I said I love Boros midrange and I can't wait to play it. This is one of the reasons for it. So, 5 mana, 4/4. Pretty neat stat line for the keywords she got, which are Flying, Vigilance, and Haste. So, 5 mana, 4/4, Flying, Vigilance, and Haste. Yeah, insanely good stat line. Insanely good stat line for the keywords she got. You almost every single time gonna get some damage in, so that's really great. And the effects. Whenever a player attacks with 3 or more creatures, you draw a card. Sick, really easy to do. Also, I believe it works for the opponent as well, because it's whenever a player attacks. So, yeah, that's can be pretty relevant, but more relevant to you. So, whenever a player attacks with 3 or more creatures, you draw a card. Whenever a player attacks with 5 or more creatures, Aurelia, the Law Above, deals 3 damage to each of your opponents, and you gain 3 life. Sick effect. Sick effect. It's really straightforward. It's really such a good card. You're gonna play this in every single mid-range Boros deck, I believe. I mean, it's so good. It's so good. It's pretty much guaranteed 4 damage and maybe a card draw. I believe the card draw, getting the card draw is really simple. The other effect is kind of difficult, attacking with +5. Not impossible, but still quite difficult. But you're gonna get a card draw. A card draw is always favorable. It's so crazy. Absolutely adore this card, and I cannot wait to play it. I cannot wait to play it. Super sick card. So, number 2, you know it, I know it, no need to dwell about this card. Assassin Trophy. The moment I saw this card, I gasped so hard. I didn't believe they reprinted this. This card is gonna see play in every single deck. Every single deck that can run this card will run it. The best removal, one of the best removal in the history of Magic the Gathering. Assassin Trophy. Gruul mana, instant speed, destroy target permanent, and opponent controlled. Its controller may search the library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Straight up, the best removal in the entire game, in Standard I mean, not in the history of Magic. One of the best removal in the history of Magic. Why did they reprint this into Standard? God knows why, dude, but I'm down for it. I'm a Gruul enjoyer. And I'm a Golgari enjoyer, forgive me, I'm a Golgari enjoyer. And this gonna, oh my god, dude, this is gonna see play in 4 copies, dude. You don't even, you're building a deck that contains a black and green, 4 copies of Assassin Trophy. It's that simple. It's gonna go to every single deck. Every single deck. Every single deck. Without a single doubt in my mind. It goes into every single deck. Insanely good card. Insanely good card. Absolutely giga busted, ultra nuts. It sees play in Pioneer. It sees plays everywhere. Card's insane. Insane. And I cannot wait to play it. And I cannot wait to cry about it when people play it, you know, against me. So, last and final cards. Are you ready? Get ready for this. Lightning Helix, oh lord, another reprint. God forgive us. The reason this card is number 1 and not Assassin Trophy is because I already said I love Boros spell slinging and I love Boros midrange, and this goes into both. That's crazy. So in case you don't know, Lightning Helix, Boros mana, instant speed. Lightning Helix deal 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. 6 life swing. You're gonna see this card again, just like Assassin Trophy. You're gonna see this card 4 copies into every single Boros deck. That's just how, you know, how the cookie crumbles. That's just the way it is. This card is giga nuts. It's gonna see play again in every single Boros deck. I'm super excited for it. Also, the art is amazing, dude. The art is amazing. The art for Assassin Trophy was amazing too, if I forgot to say that. But the art here, outstanding, dude. Outstanding. And yeah, gonna see play from now until the next rotation. Like that's pretty much it. Until it rotates out, it's gonna see play in every single Boros aggro. The only caveat is it does cost Boros mana, so you do have to like run Boros. You can't, thank God, run this in mono white or mono red, but Boros is gonna be, dude, Boros is aiding well. It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane. I'm gonna run this in every single Boros midrange and Spellslinger deck. You probably will run this in yours too. This will be in Boros aggro as well, naturally. Insanely good card, ultra busted, giga nuts, and super excited for this card as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, I dragged this video for 40 minutes. I kind of want to keep it short, but I had to do it. I had to do it. This expansion looks so sick, and I'm super excited, you know, to build decks for this, you know, after this expansion finally hits, because there are so many options. There are so many cards that weren't really viable until now, and maybe we'll see a lot of new decks rise finally, right? I mean, right now the meta has been plagued with Atraxa and Esper, and I really hope to see Golgari on the rise. I really hope to see Boros rising up, and maybe Jund, and so many other decks that can really come into life after, you know, getting all of these cool new cards. If we get Spell Slinging back, I'm telling you, I'm crying. I'm like, honestly, that's my dream, dude. I miss Izzet back in the good old Elrond Epiphany days. You know, if you remember, if you know, you know. I really miss Spell Slinging decks, man. I just really want to play Spell Slinging again, and not having to play Pioneer for it. I really want Spell Slinging to be viable in Standard. And yeah, I just cannot wait. I cannot wait. But that's all for now. I dragged this video for far too long, so let me know what you guys think in the comment below. If you liked my list, or if you didn't, I really listen to your opinion, and I comment to every single, I respond to every single comment. So again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll catch you when the expansion finally hits, but that's all for now. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.